This episode is brought to you by build compelling real-time apps quickly and scale them globally with the PubNub real-time network. Only PubNub delivers the core building blocks needed for any real-time application. Find out for yourself by signing up for free today. Visit pubnub.com. Sal Khan is the founder of the largest schoolhouse on the internet, the Khan Academy. His story is not unlike your most revered business hero, but it tackles the core of our education institution's challenges in our connected world. That learning can be for everyone, at any time, about anything. He started by helping one person learn and now teaches 10 million people around the world, challenging our current norms and perhaps democratizing digital education on a mass scale. I sat with Sal to talk about this new shift coming to education, mobile computing. Sal Khan has become a shining hope of the future of education.
My name is Sal Khan. I'm the founder and executive director of the Khan Academy, and it's a not-for-profit with the mission of a free world-class education for anyone, anywhere. And its kind of current incarnation is for the most part, it's a kind of web app software, a collection of videos, many of them produced by me, but now we have other folks, anything from basic arithmetic all the way up to vector calculus and French history and art history and chemistry and physics. But we also have a huge interactive portion of our site, and the goal is really to see what we can do in terms of pushing the limits virtually, and also be a catalyst for the physical classroom changing how it operates.
So you guys have been doing this for quite some time now, and this mobile revolution that we're seeing right now, how does it have an impact on what you guys do, what your primary business is?
Yeah, I guess we've been doing it for some time by Silicon Valley.
Dog years, right?
Dog years, yeah. You know, I guess I've been in some way doing it as a hobby for some time, but it was we haven't been a kind of a real organization with office space for, I guess we're approaching 2.5 years. So yeah, that's forever in Silicon Valley. The mobile's interesting. I mean, even right when we were coming out of the gate, we started off as a web app. I mean, I started off on YouTube and this web app and for exercises, but it was pretty clear even a couple of years ago that look, mobile's going to be a really big deal. I think what's been difficult for a lot of players, including us, is what's the platform? How's the platform going to evolve? Do you go to iOS? Is it a mobile app? Is it a tablet app? Android? Now you got Windows 8 and at some point is the web, we're going to have like HTML8 that is going to be, essentially just makes your mobile app for you. And these are the debates we have in-house. Right now we do have an iPad app. Right now it's only rich video viewing, so it's not our complete Khan Academy experience. I think, the reality is over the next year or two, we will have to make our full experience available on some of the major mobile platforms.
Is the risk, I mean, you brought it up really clearly there, is the risk that you move too quickly? Are a lot of companies moving too quickly into this? They're deciding on a platform and they're rolling out with the risk that in a couple of years, maybe we're back to just basically web basics where we are right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of companies, obviously, their immediate definition of their company is that I'm a mobile company, and okay, where's the market? Okay, it's in iOS and it's in Android, so let's build apps in each of those marketplaces, and I guess Windows 8 is going to come out. That's likely to be a big marketplace, and so they just have to do it, and they don't really have to think much about 3-5 years from now. If they're around, they'll address those problems then. Yeah, I mean, for us, it's much more. I mean, it's more complex thing. I mean, it feels like, yeah, we definitely should have an iOS. The major developed world platforms we should definitely have, but in the developing world, it's still unclear. It seems like Android is winning out, but maybe Windows 8 has a say there. I've met with literally the president of Brazil. They're deploying Android tablets into Brazil, and they're eager to have a kind of a native experience on that in Portuguese. So it's not just even it's just not even a platform thing. It's international. Well. Localization is a big deal. So yeah, it's all kind of a big question mark for us. I think our near-term focus is let's get the solution right. And we think it's already valuable, but there's 100 things that we want to improve on it. So it's like, okay, now the experience is really good. Once we get that experience reasonably well, then I think we can start thinking about deeper mobile experiences.
So how has this shifted, though? Education as a place that you go to learn versus education as a platform. I think that's really what this has become, hasn't it? And mobile, does it extend that? And does it extend the type of person that can access it?
Yeah, well, whether it's mobile or web or mobile web, or it's, because that's the other thing. The web is also going to become much more commonplace, and you're going to have like 8G networks. I'm just making up things, but it's definitely going to affect. I mean, it already can affect things. I mean, even we can already be experienced on our, we have our website on a mobile device is optimized for that, and whatever else. So it does change it into kind of anywhere, any place, anyone type of thing. And that's part of what we're trying to drive into the classroom is like, look, the classroom does not have to be the place for information delivery anymore. That's actually a fundamentally passive experience. It's actually more active if you're watching a video because you're choosing to watch the video as opposed to just sitting in class. It's like, okay, what's next? So we think it's a catalyst for making the classroom more human interactive. But yeah, we'll see. It's kind of it's early days and exciting times. So we'll see what happens.
Well, what about the impact of something like this? What you are doing combined with the device about reaching more people. We know that infrastructure isn't as strong in emerging economies as it is in North America. So we don't have the big screen experience, broadband connectivity. We don't care about any Gs when it comes to connectivity. It's smartphones, not even smartphones. It's feature phones. Yeah. How does what you're doing and then the extension into mobile help emerging economies?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question I get all the time about. Well, I get it the other way. It's like, oh, well, it looks like you're doing great stuff, but what about like the village in India or sub-Saharan Africa? And there's no obvious solution for that tomorrow. But the hope is that in the next 5 years, the idea of a $20 tablet or mobile phone or smartphone is going to be a reality. The idea of having some access to some form of medium band will be a reality. And so yeah, I think it could be it could allow some of those folks to really almost leapfrog into having access to knowledge and information and interact with others.
So a little bit of projection for you. How do you want the Khan Academy to be remembered in this era? As it's kind of muddy, right? What's going on right now? Nobody knows the direction it's going, but we do know that there's this layer that is the mobile layer that will have a huge influence on generations to come. Yeah. The way we learn, everything will be influenced. Yeah. So how do you guys want to be remembered in this?
Well, hopefully it won't be whatever happened to them and Milli Vanilli, it'll be like, oh wow, could you imagine that small thing is now, helping all of our kids reach their potential, and not just while they're before the age of 18, it lasts with them their whole life. And could you imagine there was a time that we didn't expect sixth graders to understand quantum physics? Isn't that crazy? And I say that somewhat jokingly, but there was a time that people legitimately thought most people couldn't read. Yeah. And now it's, we expect that it's 99.9% literacy in the developed world. And so I do hope that we're a catalyst for rethinking what a classroom is. We're a catalyst for people rethinking their assumptions of who has access and how. We're a catalyst for rethinking people's expectations of what a human being is capable of learning. And if we can do that, if we can increase the rate at which, not just our world we learn, but a young girl in a slum in Calcutta can learn, I actually think we can accelerate the rate at which maybe humanity learns and advances. I mean, if we could increase by an order of magnitude the number of people who understand molecular biology, we might get a cure for cancer 10 times faster. So who knows?
It dawns on me that I start to think about this, that there could be a hyper specialization. Like, there's no reason why a 6-year-old couldn't be an expert in moths now, right? Yeah. Is that what we're going to start to see, that kind of specialization early on, where you really are able to focus on the things that you're passionate about?
I don't know. I don't know if it'll be hyper specialization. I think my guess, and you're already seeing this in the world, is it'll be the ability to become an expert fairly fast and on demand is actually what's going to happen. So, I mean, the world's going to be changing so fast. Moths might be the really...
They're cool.
They're cool. And, and right now we're talking about mobile, and, it's great to become a mobile expert, and it would be great if there was a way that you could spend, 6 weeks and just become an expert. Yeah. And I think that's possible.
That would cut my lifeline pretty down.
Okay.
Pretty close. Very competitive.
But then, who knows, in 3 years we'll be talking about, virtual projections on your Google Glass, and that's just a different paradigm, and you'll want to learn that, and then all of a sudden we'll be talking about programming gene sequences, and that's a different thing, and but you'll have to become an expert on that within months, and so hopefully we can help accelerate that.
So aside from the Khan Academies, aside from what you're doing about this, you raising education and trying to change the classroom, what is getting you excited that you see that's outside of your existing purview?
I mean, we just had Elon Musk over at the office last week, and
it's a special guest.
It's a special guest, and he's like, he just very nonchalantly, I think we'll colonize Mars in 12 years.
And I'm going to be the first one.
Yeah, well, we're going to have self-landing rockets probably maybe next year, and maybe in 12 years, half the market will be electric cars. And I mean, he's very nonchalantly, but he's got some skunk works about some pneumatic tubes or something to transform, passenger rail lines or something, and he's like, it'd be fun. It'd be like a tourist attraction, but it'd also be very good. He's very nonchalant, and he says these epic, mind-blowing. Humanity needs to colonize multiple planets because on an evolutionary scale, we've only been around for that's my Elon Musk impression. It's purely out of respect. He's one of my heroes. So. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a mind-blowing guy. I'd say I think the self-driving car is incredibly exciting, especially my children. My oldest is 4 years old, so my hope is by the time he is around 16.
So he doesn't drive.
Yeah, and it actually is good. It would be I think that's the killer app. It would be hugely empowering for kids. It's no longer just like the kids who have the drivers who will be like, hey, Jeeves, take me to the candy store. It'll be like everyone will have, kids will be empowered, which I think would be really powerful, and you'll cut down a lot on. I mean, there's I think it's 30 or 40,000 people die a year in the U.S. alone through car accidents. It's like this. If that was happening in planes or terrorist attacks, or anything else, it'd be like emergency state. But we just kind of take it for granted.
We accept it.
Exactly.
And it takes kind of a visioning company to be able to change that, just like a guy changing the education system.
Yeah,
right?
we'll see. Yeah, well, it's exciting times.
So thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.